GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Toronto. I'm Jordan Parker. The Leafs just landed defenseman Darren Radish in a sign and trade, and the Wards Island ferry is back in service after a tree trunk cleared the dock. Flood warnings are lifted after that heavy rain, and traffic is running smoothly. Over to you, Nathan.
Arkells Between Yous tour lands at Budweiser Stage this Saturday, featuring a 7 p.m. kickoff and supporting act Hounds of Love.
Tickets start at $50, with premium seats offering a view of the lakefront and limited backstage passes available online.
The concert follows Arkells' recent album release, and the band will perform 10 tracks, including the new single Faster for fans.
Lots to get to. Let's begin our afternoon together and dive right into the stories awaiting us today here. The City Council voted today to approve the transit expansion, a move that could cut commuter times by 20 minutes.
The Maple Leafs made a move today, adding defenseman Darren Radish from the Tampa Bay Lightning in a sign and trade. Toronto sent a fifth-round pick in the 2026 NHL draft to the Lightning as part of the deal. Radish, known for his physical play and versatility, joins a blue line that has been searching for depth after last season's early playoff exit. The transaction comes as teams across the league shuffle rosters in the offseason, positioning themselves for the campaign that begins in the fall. Toronto's front office said the addition gives the club a right-hand shot blocking option and a player who can contribute on the power play. Radish will report to training camp in September, where he'll compete for a regular season roster spot. The sign and trade also frees a contract spot, giving Toronto room for further moves before the draft.
Ferry service to Wards Island is back in operation after a brief halt caused by a fallen tree trunk that blocked the dock. City crews cleared the obstruction late yesterday, allowing the vessels to dock safely again this morning. The blockage had forced the city to cancel all trips to the island on Thursday, leaving weekend picnickers and cyclists without their usual waterfront link. With the dock cleared, the regular schedule resumes, connecting downtown ferry terminals to the tranquil parks and beaches of Wards Island. Officials said the tree fell during a recent storm and was quickly removed to restore service. Travelers can now board the ferries as usual, enjoying the short ride across Lake Ontario to the island's car-free oasis. The route runs between the Jack Layton Terminal and Wards Island. Morning commuters can expect the usual 15-minute crossing.
Heavy rain began Wednesday evening, dumping more than 70 millimeters across several neighborhoods. Streets in the downtown core, the Danforth and parts of the West End swelled, prompting the city's emergency management team to issue flood warnings that lasted through the night into early Thursday. By early Thursday morning, crews reported that water levels had receded and drainage systems were clearing, allowing officials to lift all warnings. Residents were advised earlier to avoid low-lying routes near the ravines and to monitor updates from the Toronto Weather Center. The short-term surge strained transit, causing temporary service interruptions on several subway stations and road closures along Lake Shore Boulevard. Authorities say the rapid drop in precipitation helped prevent further damage, and they will review the event to improve future response. City officials also reminded motorists to watch for standing water on arterial routes.
Ontario faces a looming talent gap that could cripple its economy. The Council of Ontario Universities released a new forecast showing that more than 1 million university graduates will be needed over the next decade, with the greatest demand in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The projection comes as provincial labor market analysts warn of a shortfall in skilled workers across manufacturing, healthcare, renewable energy, and advanced tech sectors. Universities across the province are being urged to expand enrollment and align programs with these critical needs. Officials say the shortfall could force companies to look outside the province or slow growth plans if the pipeline of qualified talent does not keep pace. The report calls for coordinated action among government, post-secondary institutions, and industry to ensure Ontario's workforce remains competitive.
Ontario police forces are praising the federal government's new bail and sentencing reforms announced this week, saying the changes will give officers clearer tools and help keep the public safe. The reforms, unveiled on June 17th, tighten criteria for pre-trial release and introduce mandatory minimums for a range of offenses. Legal scholars, however, warn that the measures may not curb crime and could disproportionately affect already marginalized communities. Critics point to research suggesting that harsher sentencing often fails to deter offenders and can deepen cycles of disadvantage. Police leadership emphasized that the reforms address long-standing concerns about repeat bail violations, while experts called for evidence-based assessments before the policies take full effect. The debate now centers on whether the new framework will balance public security with fairness in the justice system.
Coming up, the Ford government's shortest Ontario legislative session in 50 years and more. Then back after the break, we will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, folks. I'm glad you stayed tuned. Now let's dive into today's headlines before handing it over to Nathan for the local stories.
Premier Doug Ford announced that the Ontario legislature will convene for the briefest session in 5 decades, then break for a 21-week recess. The sitting, slated for the 2026 legislative year at Queen's Park, will run only a handful of days before the break. Officials say the compressed calendar is designed to give the governing Tories a strategic edge, while political analysts caution that such a truncated timetable could introduce procedural risks. Historically, the Provincial Assembly meets for several months each year, but this year's schedule reflects the absence of a scheduled provincial election. Experts note that the shortened session may limit debate time and affect the passage of legislation, making the upcoming parliamentary calendar unusual. The long recess may shift the timing of budget approvals and program rollouts that affect municipal services, school funding, and infrastructure projects across the province.
An emergency response unfolded in Oshawa on June 18th when a large tree unexpectedly collapsed. Durham police reported that the falling tree struck a group of children, leaving one child critically injured. Paramedics stabilized the child at the scene before a medical helicopter airlifted the youngster to a nearby hospital. A second child was located at the scene without vital signs. Police indicated that investigators have not yet determined why the tree gave way. The incident prompted a rapid deployment of fire, ambulance, and air rescue crews, underscoring the swift coordination of emergency services. Authorities are continuing to gather information and will update the public as the investigation proceeds. The child arrived at the hospital in serious condition, and medical staff initiated intensive care measures. Responders kept the perimeter closed while investigators examined the tree and surrounding area.
Starting June 19th, a stretch of Church Street between Wellesley Street East and Alexander Street will be closed to motor vehicles, turning the corridor into a pedestrian-only zone through August 21st. The City of Toronto says the temporary conversion is part of a summer program aimed at making streets safer and more inviting for walkers and cyclists. By removing cars, the city hopes to give residents and visitors a chance to stroll, shop, and dine without traffic noise or parking hassles. Local businesses along the block anticipate more foot traffic, while families can enjoy the widened sidewalks and street-level seating. The initiative follows earlier car-free experiments the city has run during warm months, all designed to encourage active transportation and improve overall street vitality. Pedestrians can also expect occasional pop-up performances and local art displays during the closure.
Toronto, June 18, a polling firm has issued a legal demand for Ontario Premier Doug Ford to withdraw his recent claim that a poll was fabricated. The firm sent a formal letter to the Premier's office Thursday, asserting that the poll in question was legitimate and requesting an immediate retraction of the false statement. Ford's allegation, made earlier this week, suggested the poll's results were invented, prompting the firm to seek correction through legal channels. The demand cites potential damage to the firm's reputation and calls for a public clarification. No response from the Premier's office has been reported as of the filing. The polling company, headquartered in Toronto, said it will evaluate additional legal steps if the retraction is not issued promptly. A spokesperson for the Premier's office declined to comment on the matter at this time.
The Exhibition Place Board voted on June 18th to reject a proposal that would have turned the seasonal casino into a year-round operation. The decision keeps the gambling venue limited to the Canadian National Exhibition, where a temporary casino has been part of the fair since 1991. Exhibition Place, CEO said the board concluded the existing arrangement best serves the venue's broader mission and community expectations. Officials noted the fair draws millions of visitors each late August, and a permanent casino could alter traffic, staffing, and revenue models. Board members also referenced the historic partnership between the fair and the casino, emphasizing that the current setup provides a controlled, short-term boost without committing to long-term changes. The rejection means the casino will appear only during the annual exhibition moving forward.
Now let's get a quick look at your afternoon forecast with our weather team.
Let's dive into today's Toronto weather, where sunshine and a gentle breeze promises a pleasant midday. The all-time high for June 19th in Toronto was 33.1 degrees, set just last summer in 2024 during an intense heat wave that pushed the city into the mid-30s. The record low sits at 10.3 degrees, recorded in 2022 when an unseasonal cold snap dropped temperatures into the low teens. By contrast, our climate normals hover around a high of 22 degrees and a low near 11 degrees, so today feels comfortably typical. At noon, Toronto sits under a clear sky with a comfortable 19 degrees and humidity near 68%, while a light 9 km/h breeze drifts from the south. Temperatures will edge up to 21 degrees by mid-afternoon, staying mostly clear as the sun climbs. The UV index climbs to 7, so a hat and sunscreen are wise if you'll be outdoors. Wind gusts may reach 30 km/h from the west later in the afternoon, feeling a bit brisk but nothing hazardous. Tonight will cool to 20 degrees with clear skies, and the night will dip to 11 degrees after sunset. With no weather alerts in force, we can enjoy a pleasant evening before we look ahead to the 5-day outlook. Looking ahead, Saturday promises a bright start with a high of 22 degrees and a low of 11, keeping the sky clear all day. Sunday turns a shade cloudier, staying around 22 degrees at its peak but dropping to 12 at night, and overcast conditions will dominate. Monday brings a cooler feel, high 20 degrees and low 14, with overcast skies and a 45% chance of rain in the afternoon, so keep an umbrella handy. Tuesday brightens again, offering a high of 23 degrees, low 14, and clear skies perfect for outdoor plans. Wednesday rounds out the stretch with a high of 21 degrees, low 14, and mostly overcast conditions, keeping temperatures mild. That's a varied mix of sunshine, clouds, and a splash of rain to keep the week interesting.
Up next, traffic's minor delays, the Arkells Between Us tour, and a look at the new Oshimakata Thai spot. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Church Street is closed to vehicles between Wellesley Street East and Alexander Street, a shutdown that forces drivers onto nearby routes. Expect extra traffic on Queen Street East and the Gardiner as commuters divert around the blockage. The closure also adds a few minutes to trips heading downtown from the East End, especially during the morning rush. Drivers can also consider Danforth Avenue as a corridor. Elsewhere, the network runs smoothly. Highway 404 remains clear, and the East Side Expressway sees no congestion. Major arteries, the 401, the Don Valley Parkway, and the Gardiner, report only minor slowdowns, and no accidents are logged. If you're on Bloor, Yonge, or Eglinton, you'll likely see steady flow. Looking ahead, the afternoon should stay clear. The construction crew remains on schedule, and no transit service changes have been announced. Evening peak looks manageable. Keep an eye on any updates, but for now the roads are moving as expected.
Arkells light up the RBC Amphitheatre tonight with Half Moon Run and Kaylin Russo, delivering a high-energy rock set that fans of their new album will love. Fans will hear the latest singles alongside classic hits, guaranteeing a night of sing-along moments. Just steps away, the Toronto Summer Street Food and Artisan Festival rolls out at Nathan Phillips Square, a 3-day feast of global flavors, handmade crafts, and live beats. Family-friendly vibes and live music make it a go-to spot for a midday break. The Scarborough Shooting Stars face the Ottawa Blackjacks at the Pan Am Sports Centre this afternoon, a fast-paced local rivalry that sparks community pride. The quick transitions and homegrown talent show why Toronto's basketball scene is heating up. This week, the Toronto Jazz Festival spreads across the city, offering free outdoor sets that keep the summer groove alive. Whether you're a seasoned listener or curious newcomer, the open-air stages invite all to sway to smooth sounds. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Here is what is moving in Toronto sports. GM John Chayka makes an early splash by adding a top offensive defenseman ahead of the free agency period. Springer's milestone may herald a hot stretch for him and the Jays. New GM John Chayka reshapes the roster by swapping goaltending and defensive depth for younger assets.
Oshimokata opens its doors in Scarborough, bringing a fresh twist to Toronto's Thai scene. Situated on the bustling McCowan corridor, the Excensus Group's new restaurant blends traditional Thai flavors with the Korean-style Mokata grill, letting guests choose from marinated meats, fresh seafood, and crisp vegetables while they fire up tabletop grills and swirl hot pot broth. The interactive experience turns a meal into a shared event. With dozens of jobs created, the spot gives local residents a vibrant place to gather and tourists a taste of authentic communal cooking. Neighbors note the tempting aroma drifting onto the street has already become a weekend landmark. In a city built on diversity, Oshimokata reminds us that food can connect neighborhoods, one shared plate at a time. And later we'll celebrate the grand opening of Oshimokata, Scarborough's interactive Thai Mokata restaurant, a delicious new hotspot.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From city hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
Toronto is turning the historic Fort York National Historic Site and the vibrant Bentway into a citywide FIFA fan festival, with live match broadcasts, cultural performances, and food stalls, turning downtown into a global soccer hub for fans of all ages. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. The summer sun bounces off the stone walls of Fort York as a sea of fans drapes colorful banners across the historic ramparts. I'm standing at the foot of the guardhouse, the scent of street taco skewers mixing with the breeze off the harbor, while a LED screen flickers to life, ready to stream the first World Cup match. Just beyond, the Bentway arches over the rail tracks, its sleek concrete arches now framed by stages where drummers in jerseys pulse to the rhythm of a crowd. Local vendors line the pathways, offering everything from poutine to Caribbean roti, their voices rising in a chorus of anticipation. Families set up picnic blankets on the grassy knoll, children clutching soccer balls, eyes fixed on the looming screens. The city announced the fan festival runs from June 11 to July 19, 2026. It brings generations together, turning Old Stone into a field of dreams. Carl Dumont virtually at Fort York.
On the bustling stretch of Yonge Street in North York, a crowd gathered Saturday morning outside a red and white storefront, the New Zellers. Parents with stroller-tied toddlers, teenagers snapping photos, and former employees in blue shirts stood together, waiting for the doors to swing open. The scent of fresh paint mixed with the faint aroma of coffee from a nearby cafe, while a local high school art student painted a quick mural of the classic Zellers logo on the sidewalk, his brushstrokes bright against the concrete. When the ribbon finally fell, the first customer, a retired teacher who spent her teenage years hunting for the perfect winter coat in the original downtown store, stepped inside, eyes misting as she ran her fingers over the familiar wooden shelving. Children squealed at the sight of the iconic Z sign, and the former floor manager handed out tote bags, sharing stories of the brand's heyday. In that moment, the community felt past and present merge, a reminder that a beloved name can still spark new memories. It's proof that some places belong to the heart of a neighborhood, and today they're back.
On a crisp autumn evening along Yonge Street in Barrie, OPP Sergeant Maya Patel pulled over a silver sedan that was threading the empty road at a speed that made the dashboard needle jump to 146 kilometers per hour, well above the 60-kilometer limit. The car's headlights were off, casting only the faint glow of street lamps on the wet pavement. As Patel stepped out, the rain drummed a steady rhythm, and she could see the driver's hands trembling on the wheel. A quick breath analyzer confirmed impairment, and the officer calmly explained the seriousness of the situation, offering the man a chance to call a loved one and arrange a safe ride home. The driver, a 30-year-old father, broke down, grateful for the respectful treatment that felt less like punishment and more like a wake-up call. He later called a local support group, crediting the encounter with steering him toward help. It's moments like these, when law enforcement protects the road while extending compassion, that remind us safety is a shared responsibility. The community's quiet resolve keeps our streets safer for everyone.
Thanks for joining us, Toronto. Tonight's highlight was the ferry service towards Island finally sailing again after that stubborn tree blockage. We appreciate your community spirit, and we'll be back tomorrow on our channel with more stories that matter to you. See you then.